I like that lip gloss. What is that?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Cracking Open a Cold One 7. I'm joined today with Jen from Abundant Growth and with Angelina
Hey.
from Life by Lyric. And I'm your host, Doug Graves, the Friendly Neighborhood Necromancer. So today is going to be a really interesting topic, shall we say? Um, since we were supposed to cover this one eventually, but might as well do it now to get out of the way. So toxicity and spirituality. I guess we can start off by defining what toxicity is. But before we go to that, how are you guys?
I am wonderful. Y'all see me glowing and growing over here.
hmm And I know you've had an exciting day too, Angelina. So,
Yes, I'm trying to get it together. We literally about 20 minutes ago just finished our showers from the pool because this Pisces moon needed that water on this Memorial Day of remembrance. And so yeah, that's what we did for about 4 or 5 hours. So it's been a good day. Pray that you all had a great day as well.
Yes, I actually just came back from my family gathering. We were eating crabs and shrimp and stuff, so it was like a seafood boil. Um,
Uh-oh.
them crabs were so good, y'all. I had to take me some home. I
Suck you.
did. I did. I had to take me some home.
evening, Jazz. How you doing?
Get it.
Yeah. Anyway, so where do you want to start off with this conversation? Like, do we just define terms here, or do we just start talking about like where we find it? Uh,
Well, I can say that not just in spirituality, but any practice, any, whether it be just spirituality, or religious practices, or just if it's your day-to-day belief, just how you feel, because there are people that don't believe in anything, but just your day-to-day walk and mantra, um things that conflict your basic day-to-day necessity is what I would consider toxicity.
toxicity.
And to put a little nudge on it, things that are intentional. Because
That's true.
sometimes people do hindrances and they don't really realize that they're the devil's advocate in a sense. And then some people don't are so hurt that they don't realize that they're that toxic, and they're deflecting or disassociating with past things and deflected it on present relationships, or it's very intentional.
Yeah, or they tend to try to project their insecurities off another person. And I feel like toxicity kind of, I feel like being toxic and a narcissist, they're like twins almost. We're going to say they fraternal twins. You know what I mean? Because it's like you can't have one without the other. And sometimes toxic people, they can't respect healthy boundaries, or they get mad at you when you set boundaries, because you need to put a wall up, because I don't want that toxic waste, that green sludgy shit falling all over me. Now I got to redo my cleanse. Nobody got time for that.
Mm.
Hold on,
Right.
y'all. Let
So
me
it
grab
so
my
does it
computer.
all boil down? So guys, do you find that with toxicity, it boils down to habitual behaviors or certain behaviors that I suppose it's triggered in somebody, or maybe it's just something that they do like as you said, unintentionally, because it's out of habit or something that they're reacting to because of i.e. past hurts or previous experiences or just the way they handle things, right?
Yeah, I would say the way things are. Yeah, it's a repetitive or a recycled conduct.
Yeah.
Um, since I got my little laptop up,
Oh, thank you for voting for me.
yeah, I voted for you a couple of times too. I wasn't 100%. I skimmed over it, but it was you, so I was just like, okay, try to vote. I don't know nobody else out there.
Well, I
And
suppose.
Dennis is right. When they talk about the environment, like people, some people still hold on to that childhood trauma, and that goes back to not being healed, wanting to be a victim. So, and it also goes with, to me, this is my personal opinion. Um, they also self sabotage, because you could be toxic to yourself, especially if you're not wanting to heal and allow yourself to move past that low vibrating energies. It's like it becomes you. So that's all you're gonna know. That's all you attract. So that toxic is gonna seep through your pores, and then it's gonna damn near tarnish everything around you.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, that's not really an opinion, Jen. It's more like an argument, which is much stronger. But you are right. There are factors that tie into those behaviors too. But I mean, we don't even have to add spirituality to it or anything spiritual because toxicity exists everywhere, right?
Yeah, I was about to say it's not even now. It's a differentiation when it involves spirituality,
Oh yeah,
because
because it's
spirituality is a
more
broad
nuanced.
platform.
Oh, I know it's more nuanced, and sometimes it can get really amplified, right?
Right, because the spirit that's involved within it, the energy that you're feeding off of, like it's a known tapped in energy that you're associated with. And spirituality, to me, this a collective in training woman sees spirituality as a significant journey for each individual for the betterment of themselves, each day. It's each day you're implementing something, even if it's you usually don't take out the trash, but you got to get up and take out the trash today. You know what I'm saying? But because cleanliness is next to godliness, so you know what I'm saying. All those little things. So spirituality is an everyday process, an everyday walk, an everyday elevation or change. Because
Right? It's a
sometimes we don't
lifestyle.
elevate, we just change. Huh?
I say it's a lifestyle. It's something
Exactly.
that you have to be dedicated to.
Exactly. So when you put toxic on within spirituality and toxic behaviors, which many of us don't even want to say that we got them, but a lot of us do have some toxic traits. Even if we think that we're being helpful in a sense, it can be toxic, it can come off as being toxic and a hindrance. Because as the Oxford Language Dictionary, here I am with my references, you can tell I've been in school, it states that toxicity is the quality of being very harmful or unpleasant in a pervasive or insidious way, or it's the quality of being toxic or poisonous. So even though you may have good intentions on something, if you haven't laid the ground for approach, it can come off as a hindrance, or it can be perceived in a different, aspect to the other individual. But this is why communication is also key.
Hmm. But that's more towards like if you have like a toxic environment that involves other people. So would it
Just
be? I mean, like, would it be slightly different with just the self or just the person involved being toxic to themselves?
I think we can be very toxic to ourselves. Because I believe if we're toxic to ourselves first, that's what spews over to other people. Um, Let me give myself for an example. Because I have a background of foster care, you know what I'm saying, 19 years of growing up in foster care, I know that and I'm 33, about to be 34. So I know that that's majority of my life already, right? And through that lifespan, a lot of trauma, a lot of hurt, and a lot of harm happened. So I know for myself, intimate relationships, family relationships, even just friendships, that there are aspects to where I have to stay mindful over, because I can perceive something a certain way that will trigger me that somebody else says, and they can not mean anything by it, but I quick to react to it because of a past situation, right? So that makes me, in that sense, not only toxic to that individual, but toxic to myself. And I had to learn, and thank God that I learned in my 20s that um I had to be alone with myself because I've seen some of this with myself. And I seen it in the patterns of how I was thinking. I seen it in the patterns of just how I would process my day to day. Even though I was real optimistic, there would be things that I'll say to myself that would be a hindrance. That was really toxic to me, and I can see how that spewed over to other relationships. Um, and so, yeah, I believe that at first, it definitely you're toxic with yourself before you're toxic with anybody else.
Hmm. Now, do you think it's just the upbringing or just things like trauma that just, make certain things like push people in more toxic direction? Do you think toxicity is learned instead of like nurtured? Or I should say nurtured versus being a
And,
naturally
and
toxic person, so to
yeah.
speak.
Um,
Do you
I
think
do believe.
there is a factor when it comes to that?
I think it's more so like it's a learned behavior because you tend to adapt to your environment. So if your parents or maybe grandparents or any adults that's around you have those toxic traits, energy doesn't die, it only transfers. So if you absorb that energy, then eventually then you're going to have that same, like they're saying, birds of a feather flock together. So you probably won't be as toxic as them, but you will definitely have some toxic traits, and sometimes you can mask it, or you can try to make it think like you aren't the toxic ones, but that goes back to a lack of self-awareness.
Hmm.
And mental health does play a part in it. A lot of people don't realize it. Like, okay, for example, I had my first child at 17. So what triggers me is when I hear someone talks about a teenage mother. You know what I mean? That makes that I get offended. And I used to go off, or I used to just lash out and say things, but that's because of my own hang up about getting pregnant at 16. Regardless to if me and this guy was together for a few years or not, that's something that was within me. So I would always frown up at people, or not really want to deal with them if they said, "Oh, that's too young to have kids," and things like that. I just use that for an example. Um, and another thing, like my grandmother was really, really, really mean. Like she was mean as hell. I could have took on some of those traits. I could have act the way she act and you know, um, just sabotage everybody just because I'm upset. But that goes back to taking accountability for my actions. It goes back to being able to tell myself, hey, just because I had my child at 17 or whatever, that doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean I was fast or whatever. That goes back to healing different versions of yourself. But a lot of people don't want to do that shadow work to release that toxicity. They tend to like to stay in that. So
Hmm. No, definitely. Oh, you're muted.
Hi, this is my voice. So when you say people stay in it, for yourself, is that like they reluctantly stay in it off of comfort, or do they stay in it because they don't have the tools of how to move
I think
through
it's
that?
I think it's a little bit of both. It could be complacency,
Hmm.
wanting to feel victimized, wanting to have some type of sympathy for someone. So what I did was I didn't really have the tools. I'm not really a book reader, so reading a book to learn some shit, that ain't for Jen. Mm-mm.
Right.
That ain't for Jen because I get bored. I suffer from a little touch of ADHD, so I get bored. You know what I mean? So for me, it was more so me coming to grip. Okay, yeah, you had your baby at an early age. Okay, so how are you going to move forward? How are you going to be able to teach her not to do the same thing. You have to lead by an example. So I just changed my perception on that. I was like, okay, well, maybe it was meant for me to have my child early because the universe wanted me to go through certain things in my life. I
And
had
it
to grow up, so I had to be mature because I was already at a level of maturity from a little kid, you know? So that's how I had to look at it. And, watching different documentaries. And then I kind of stemmed away from certain things on TV because that would trigger me. That will make me want to stay in that negative mind state or make me feel attacked when someone would talk about having a baby early.
Hmm. And I mean, like coming like from my perspective as well, not just reluctance to leave said environments or that you create people create for themselves, but I mean, like there's also that touch of familiarity as being human, right? Being toxic or starting that toxic trait, I wouldn't say it could be akin to addiction, but there is that particular familiarity when one is used to feeling a certain way and then identifying that as self, right? And that's a really hard thing to come out of.
It is.
And I know for myself that for the longest time, I did have a very toxic trait that I did manage to maybe not completely erase, but accept and temper. Um, but
Boy,
some,
we'll be here
but I
all
mean,
night
like,
talking
there's
about
some
that.
traits that you can't get rid of, but there's some things but there are things that I've learned, walking certain spiritual paths that yes, it can be controlled, it can be harnessed, and it can be directed. It
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily have to be deconstructed. Sometimes just takes a little acknowledgement and, of course, the know-how to be able to temper and focus.
right.
You're
You're
muted.
muted.
Damn it, y'all, I'm gonna get it together. I promise. But no, I want to touch on Janet Strong. You said something very valuable because you said that I've come to terms with not being the victim and do something about it. That's another thing about toxic behavior and conduct, because when you said earlier, Jen, that it's like narcissistic and toxicity kind of going hand in hand, which of course, because narcissist is a toxic behavior, because that person never sees that they're wrong. I got several of them in my life, you know what I'm saying? And I just, you got to pick your battles. Just like with your kids, you got to pick your battles. So
Yeah.
sometimes I just look at the motherfuckers and be like,
Yeah,
okay, but,
exactly.
and not say nothing and just nod my head and go, okay, okay, because you really do have to pick your battle. But at the same time, you don't let nobody run over you.
And
But it comes with that victim mentality. Here's a shocker. At some point, I really did not realize I had a victim mentality um,
mhm,
until like my early 20s, very early 20s.
mhm,
And like I said, it stemmed from a lot of the trauma that I went through.
mhm.
So besides seeing where I can play a part, it's that learned helplessness when you go through trauma too. So you become stay back, oh my gosh, there's nothing I can really do in this situation. But like you said, Miss Strong, you have to take accountability for it and figure out what can I do. Okay, this is going on. This is how I'm feeling. What
Right.
part am I playing? And actually just being real with yourself. What
Yeah.
am I doing in this scenario that if I would have changed it, it could have completely changed the outcome.
Right.
Sometimes what you do won't change the outcome.
Right.
But majority of the time, if you are feeling victimized, there is something that you can do, whether either be remove yourself from the equation, whether it be speak up and vocalize a little bit more, whether it be change and transition your approach, to certain topics. Oh God, you creeper. Um,
But I mean, it goes. I mean, you're so right, and it's something that I want to say. Like it took me a long time, y'all. Surprisingly, I wasn't all this peaceful my whole entire life. I used to just fly off the hinges. I felt like I had to, because I had this, so say, victim mentality, because of the things that I went through in my life. I always felt like I had to defend myself. I always felt like I had to be aggressive, especially if I felt like somebody was disrespecting me or they had my name in their mouth. I felt like I had to check every motherfucking thing that was coming. But what I realized was I could not take constructive criticism. And being in cosmetology, and I know this don't have nothing to do with it, but you have to grow a thick skin, especially being in cosmetology school. They're gonna pick your ass apart. And I was so sensitive, like I felt like everybody was trying to come at me because I felt like I was judged, because I had my kid in high school or whatever. And I, by the time I was 19, I already had two more kids. So when I turned 23, I had my fourth child. So, and I felt like everybody was looking at me like, because I'm not married, I only went to school for a trade, I didn't go to college and things like that. So anytime somebody would say something, I would be mad. I'd be real mad because they would say I was a statistic. Excuse, y'all know I'm country as hell. I mess up a lot of words. So but
But
I would be so, and I realized that I pushed a lot of that. That's how I realized I was the toxic one that was in my own life, because I started pushing away people that really wanted to be in my life, that really had something good, that really, was serving me some type of purpose. But because I was so angry, I was still tied to that victim mentality. Couldn't nobody tell me anything. Because if you say one wrong thing Jen didn't like, I'm gonna rip your ass up. I'm talking about I'm an air sign. I'm a double air sign. So that sword come out. You get what I'm saying?
but I
So
mean, like looking at from like playing devil's advocate here. But I mean, like from the way what you described for those throughout those years, wouldn't someone see that as not necessarily being toxic, but you've just been in survival mode for so long, given what you've experienced?
right, you're muted, love.
You
It's just-
Shit. Sorry,
yeah, I'm
y'all.
sorry. This is a really good topic. I wish I had me some little snacks too, because I like to snack when I talk. When it's a good one.
We all got our little necks. I got me a little
So,
drink. I
like,
got me a little something sweet to drink while I'm talking.
but I mean, what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say is that we can't really, as an outside observer, hearing that, I don't think we can fault you for being that because of that, right?
Right.
Right. But some people will. So that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. There's a lot of, and the opinionated, oh, how opinionated everything
Oof.
is and how sensitive. I'm not going to get on that. But
No, because we could be on that all night.
everybody has an opinion about everything. I mean, wipe it and go on. For real, for real. But
Especially on Facebook.
Facebook is mm. Anyway.
I mean,
But
that's I mean, like, that's like social media culture, right? So it's the
Right.
toxicity is part of it.
right. But the thing is that before pre-pandemic, right? You'd come to Facebook. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I come to Facebook just to be like, just a little scroll of the scroll. I'm like, ooh, somebody got some little juice, some tea just spilled. Let me go in the
All in the
comments
comments.
and read.
Don't
And
even
people
be
for
knowing these people.
hours. Clicked on people's pages so you can get the receipts and the follow up to see where it checks. You know what I'm saying? Let's just
Yeah.
be for real. But pandemic really has made a lot of these social platforms, people live in the cyber world more than they do their real life.
Exactly. And they take
And
what's on Facebook as reality.
it's not. A
It's
lot
not.
of it a lot of it's not. A lot of it's not. And it changes the way we all communicate too. And it makes a lot of people, a lot of individuals become keyboard thugs or thumb bandits, you know what I'm saying? And it breeds. Why are you
It
laughing?
do. It reeks. It's just like crazy because, oh my God, I don't even want to. I'm gonna just say it. Fuck it.
I mean,
It's a lot of people that's in these spiritual streets that flex for the book. You know, they make it seem like, oh, when I say flex for the book, meaning like they put on this persona that they are actually walking a spiritual path or they're working with certain spirits when they know they ain't doing shit but sitting on the goddamn couch eating motherfucking bonbons and
Mm,
everybody else business on Facebook. When
mm,
if you were truly working with your spirits, you will be elevated, your doors will be open, you can actually have this kind of glow about yourself because you're not going to have an issue or be targeted or be trying to target said people just because you've been having knowledge for a certain amount of years. It does not fucking matter if you've been in a conjure, whatever type of religion that you're in, or whatever type of practice that you have for many, many years. You still got to do the motherfucking work. You can't look down at somebody because they're younger than you or they just found their spirituality. Time was made by man, in my opinion. Time was made by man. So you can be a old ass goddamn chicken and a little chick can come in and give you some type of knowledge. Spirit used everybody as a vessel. But
yeah.
you get on this book and you try to make a goddamn novel in one goddamn post, but are you really practicing what you preaching? No, because you're doing it for likes.
I mean, for me, that's like my greatest nightmare.
And I
For
sip.
that's my greatest nightmare come true. Where if I've been practicing for something for so long and I have nothing to show for it after all these years, what was the point?
Exactly. That defeats the purpose. I could tell y'all, once I started having this self-awareness, once I started looking at the bigger picture, I call it an OBE, an out of body experience, because sometimes I am a little sensitive. Sometimes I have to take a step back. Wait a minute, am I processing this wrong? Let me look at what part that I play in this. Once I started doing that, a lot of the bullshit that was in my life, I eliminated it. So that's
Mm,
why when we were talking about being in survival mode, I felt like that was
mhm.
my toxic trait. That's why I was considered toxic because I don't always have to defend myself. I don't always have to make sure that people know that I am who I am. I ain't got to prove to no motherfucking body. I'm glad that I'm Jen. I'm glad that I'm able to be this way. So when I started realizing that, hey, I ain't got to defend myself because what's already understood need not to be explained. A lot of that toxic shit I was able to control, especially once I started controlling my anger, especially with this certain situation that I'm not even dealing with, but I'm dragged into. I would have been ripped this motherfucker apart. You get what I'm saying? But I don't even have to give that energy because I know what I am. I know who I am, and I know the type of connection that I have with my spirits. Brother,
Mhm.
if I'm laid down on the floor, depressed like a motherfucker, I know my spirits is there because I feel them rubbing in my hair, especially my grandma. That's what she do. She
Whoever that
rubs
auntie that don't play about you is, whoever, because I remember I felt her and I was like, this woman's like,
huh. Sus don't play. Sus
yeah.
don't play. That's why I have to make sure that I always stay in alignment. I have to practice peace. I have to choose peace because of the connection. And I'm gonna say this again, because of the connection that I have with my spirits. I can't be out here all willy-nilly just fucking with people or trying to attack somebody because they gonna look at me.
Hmm.
And I don't want to piss my spirits off. And then now they at your door and your motherfucking house burning down. And you don't know why.
In that specific situation, like I said many times, and I'm gonna say it on the live, can be fixed with communication.
And I'm
Should
gonna
have been
say
fixed
this.
in the, now we're at where we're at, but could have been fixed with basic communication in the beginning. And this is just for everybody on every platform. If you don't know the words to say, and there is a big situation that's going on, or you feel like it's a
Oh
big situation
no.
that's going on, take it back, put on some calming music, your favorite song.
You froze for a moment. So did you mind? Do you mind going back a bit?
Now, back where?
Uh,
Nah.
let's go back with to to everybody on the platform.
Oh, everybody on all the on every platform, all platforms, regardless spiritual, whatever. Communication is key, basically.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But sometimes people lack communication
But that's
skills.
what I'm saying. If they don't know, if you don't know the words to say, take a step back from the situation and get a bird's eye view on it. Like
Right.
take a step back and unbiasedly breathe. If you got to play, because my thing is I don't play music when I'm in something to that extent. I need silence. And when I say
Yeah.
silence, I only want to hear the breath of my body and the beating of my heart. I need
That's
silence.
it. That's
And
me.
I place myself in the middle of the room to where nothing's touching me. And I need
Yeah.
silence so I can just one, focus on breathing, and then two, reflect on the situation, and then three, process the feelings that I'm feeling through the situation to give words to them. So then when
Mhm.
I go to address somebody, I can give those words.
Right.
Hey, when this and this happened, this made me feel like this. Can I have some clarity?
Right. See, and
You
this
know,
is what I do,
and I
especially
have to grow
because
to do that. So.
I have to step back because I'm an emotional person. And I'm
Mhm.
not afraid to admit that. A lot of people try to like, oh, I'm not, I'm very emotional. And that's because I'm empathic, but that has nothing to do with it. So if I hear something that someone says or I read something, I have to go back. I gotta talk to me. I got to get all my personalities together. And I got to sit with it. I'm like, was this really towards me? Or is this something that's within me that what I'm reading is triggering? Because you know, a hit goddamn dog gonna holler. You get what I'm saying? So
You're
is it something that I need to work on with me to why this is making me feel like this? Once I come out of that meditation, once I gather all the information that I need, then I'm gonna go to this person. I'm gonna say, hey, when you said such and such, you wasn't talking about me, right? Or it wasn't towards me, right? Or maybe I'm just sensitive because I know there's something that I need to work on. And I feel like you pulled it out. But if you're in this spiritual realm, if you're in this spiritual path, you do know spirit is gonna send you different messages, especially if you've been ignoring it. But this goes out, this ties to being an ego. Because when you're an ego, you're gonna feel attacked by every little thing. And that's part of being operating in ego is part of being with toxicity
Mhm.
because
So,
your ego can take over and then you won't be able to hear things clearly.
so question for both of you. So what happens when where communication is impossible?
When communicating with a person is impossible, I believe in divine timing. I'm not if I know that my emotions is high and I have a little, a little temper or whatever, and I feel that my temperature is rising, I'm gonna say, hey, I bless you in this situation, and I'm gonna walk off before I say something that I know I really don't mean to say. But that's just me because I don't use my words to attack because my word is my wand. So I'm very mindful of the things that I say because I know if I speak things on people, I'm really speaking it on myself. So I know not everybody has that good communication skill. I'm a Gemini. So that is embedded in me. I'm a communicator. But I also have to take that mindset and realize that, hey, Jen, not everybody can communicate that way. It's all about the person that's on the other end. And sometimes I just don't even deal. Especially if my spirit say fuck them. Once they say you ain't gotta explain yourself, that's it. You ain't gonna get not a crying ass quarter out of me.
hmm
Well,
That don't mean I hate you. That don't mean I dislike you. It's just
You
I
got to
can't
protect
deal
yourself.
with it. I have to protect my energy. And I know that it's another side of me that is very aggressive. And sometimes when she steps in, she's uncontrollable. Then you got me all over the god doggone place. I'm cussing people out. I'm ready to tear some shit up. You know what I mean? I don't like to be like that. So I'm not gonna give you control over my emotions and allow me to stoop to your level. I'm a high vibration, baby. My frequency is high.
You
I'm
is
not gonna lower my motherfucking frequency because you can't comprehend what the hell I'm saying.
the way you said that. You know what I mean? You is country. That's so funny.
I am. I'm country as hell, y'all, and I like being country. I
Love
can't wait
it.
till I move out this house and
Okay.
move deeper into country.
Are you?
But I mean,
That's what I'm
but I mean, like, people don't just communicate with words either, right? Body
You say
language.
what?
Well, aside from like words, people you communicate with through body language and other stuff. So I mean,
Yeah, I look at all of that and see my body language. I'm a fighter, y'all. I'll be ready to tear somebody ass up, tear their ass off the bone, and that's not right. You don't put your hands on people. You don't own them. What you put your hand on them for?
well, that's why you have magical hands, right?
Hmm.
I'm sorry. These thumpers will thump. If I gotta
Huh,
get to that point,
huh, huh,
if I
huh,
and that's so wrong for me to say, but if it gets
huh.
to that point, because I know that I can use my words, I know that I can have a conversation. So if it comes to the point to where I got to put my hands up, they got to be put on because you really violated something. If I got to do that, it
Exactly,
usually has to do
exactly,
with my kids or something like that. But you know,
exactly. And that's
but
why. That's
but
why I try to stay calm because I don't know. I mean I'm loving light, but I mean I'm balanced too, very balanced in both. Well, where's she with?
Mm,
She'll be
I
back.
think, yeah, she'll be back, and I'll just put her on.
But that goes back to, when you work on yourself, you're not easily offended. And especially being in this spiritual journey. And everybody practice is their own because everybody has their own intuition, everybody has their own thing that they're supposed to do, regardless of what tradition says, or that's just something that you have to do. You know what I mean? So with me personally, I make sure that I always check myself, especially if I know that my energy is off. I'm not gonna allow anyone access to me if I'm having a bad day. Even my mama said something today. She was like, Jen, sometimes don't nobody even be bothering you, and you just don't want to be bothered. That's because I need my space. I use that time for me to connect back with my higher self and connect back with my inner being to find out what part of me that I need to work on. Because you every day that you are walking on this earth, you're gonna have to learn. You're gonna have to do some healing work. It doesn't just take one time or one spiritual cleanse and then you good. No, motherfucker, because everything in this earth is gonna trigger you. I don't watch the fucking news because it's just too fucking much for me.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely. I know
which
for myself with like Facebook and like TikTok and all that other stuff, I usually skip the political ones or anything
yeah.
politically geared, and I
And
just skip
speaking of
it.
TikTok, that witch TikTok, I do not even watch this shit. I don't even entertain because half that shit, I'm like, Lord Jesus, they're gonna have these people fucked up around doing all this extra shit, Googling and shit.
I
I'm very big on following my intuitive leads.
right.
So I just, I mean, I don't judge nobody. I've never been a judgmental person. And how
Mhm.
the fuck can I judge somebody when I'm a reader? That means if I read somebody and I'm judgmental, that means the reading is going to be biased. They're not going to really get the message. It's going to all come from what I feel, what my emotions is. And that's
Well, I
not how
mean,
it works.
maybe less biased and more tainted.
It'll definitely be.
Well, I don't judge anyway because judge unless she be judged. Any, you know what I'm saying? And I don't need nobody judging me
Right.
because I know even though I took a shower, it ain't all roses smelling over here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got a little bit
Mhm.
of something wrong with them, and that's just the facts.
Mhm.
Um, but I will say, Jesus, bring it back to me. And that unrolled like the marble in the wind. Lord have mercy. Bring it back to me.
So,
So,
did you want to finish your thought before we move the conversation on to, because there was something I actually wanted to discuss with you too. That's around this, but
mhm.
Okay.
I
go.
am going to, I am. I'm not because it left. And it must mean I didn't need to say it. To be honest, when it happens like that, I just know it must not have meant to be said because even though I may have wanted to say it, like I was speaking earlier, out of good intent, It could
Mm-hmm.
have been taken the wrong. It can be taken the wrong way.
Because
So
it can be something simple that can be taken the wrong fucking way, or someone could make it think that you're talking about them, and it's not even. We're just all in good spirits, hanging out like we always do. You know what I mean? But that's
Okay,
neither
but
here nor there.
so the next thing I wanted to talk about is because we're talking about individual relationships. What happens when it becomes a group thing? So does the
Well,
dynamic change because there's more people, or do you find that it's more nuanced or even more, I don't know, worse when it comes to like, I guess you can add mob mentality to that. But I mean, when
yeah,
group dynamics comes into play, for example, like spiritual groups, covens, certain, houses can be toxic sometimes. I mean, like it's not uncommon from the stories that I hear. But I mean, like, so how does one deal with that or just avoid it completely? Like, I don't know, have you guys been in that kind of environment before?
yes, yes, sir. So the thing is this. So the thing is this, though. I mean, it doesn't happen often. I only had to like happen like once or twice, kinda. But I think things like that happen when the focus is shifted from the initial intent of well, the initial purpose of the group.
right.
When the focus becomes directed over here somehow, then there's going to be a whole bunch of people falling like dominoes in the background because we're not on one accord anymore.
Mm-mm.
We got to find out where that accord.
We're not doing what the purpose is. We're
Thank
not
you.
following the main purpose. You too busy focusing on some type of unnecessary ass drama that is not even really anyway. I'm gonna say this. Sometimes when people are in groups, they tend to try to recruit others to be mad at other people for absolutely no fucking reason. But if I had something to say to someone, I'm not gonna go to others that's in the group to talk to them if I feel like me and this person has a rapport. I'm gonna come to this person. I'm gonna say, hey, let's talk about it. What is the real issue here? Instead of going to other people, hey, don't talk to that bitch. This bitch is evil. This bitch is that. This I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna attack someone's character. Now, if you have your own personal insecurities that you have not worked on, of course, me coming in my own motherfucking power is going to intimidate you. And guess what? I don't give a fuck because I'm going to always be Jen, rather if you don't like it or not. And I'm blessed. And I'm going to walk in my power, rather if you feel like I'm not connected or not. But I am. But I am. You can say whatever the fuck you want to say. And I digress. And I'm going to get back before someone says I'm unprofessional. When you never even seen me in a professional setting. I don't really care what people say about this blue app because you don't know me in real life. Because if you knew me, you would know Jen ain't gonna shoot no slugs. I'm from Texas, baby. We don't carry blanks in our guns. Here, we're gonna pop them things. I don't give a fuck. That just made me so upset. Especially in these spiritual groups. They will literally try to have a gang of people, and they don't even the other people that they recruiting, they don't even know what the fuck they mad at. They don't even know what this person did. They don't even know if this person actually did something to a said person. But they make feel like their ego, excuse me, they may feel like their intuition is telling them something when it's really their ego. And they got their head so far up their ass till they can't even notice the truth. And I said what I said.
Well, I'm gonna heart the comment
I mean,
because
like,
everybody's speaking they
what,
piece, and I'm gonna heart what you said. I'm gonna heart this comment because this is the thing here. Since it's on a live, which um having the topic, there are so many people that even if they're not watching right at this second, they can't come back and replay it. That we don't know that's coming to you, that's going to Doug, sorry, I don't beat around the bush, so I'm just going to say it.
Me either.
That goes to everybody. And they look to us for guidance. They look to us for direction. So how does that reflect on the spiritual community? If the ones that or just this path period or just this platform, which Doug, I'm so thank you for the platform on your cracking open the cold ones, but for the platform to be able to reach out and help others grow and to help enlighten and to help educate when there's chaos and anarchy in in the mix of our own platform.
You can't help anyone. You can't be a healer if you're constantly in chaos bullshit. You cannot.
I don't disagree. I do not disagree.
I
I
You
mean,
do not.
cannot.
like
Like,
it boils
how can you
down
call
to
yourself a healer when every other month you already making some type of issue from someone? Did this person really do this to you? Is it really your intuition that's talking?
but I suppose it just boils down to being able to help yourself before you can help others, right?
Exactly, because healers have to heal themselves.
And we all got to re-heal and re-cleanse. And a lot of us that are practicing faithfully, and a lot of us that have work and that are being trained and do have power, still are healing as well.
You're going to continue to heal because everything you're going to go through in life is going
Need
to
to
trigger
process
you.
it. But if you are piling on things that need to be helped, there needs to be time to take a hiatus. Just like right now, I haven't been going live and I have not been interacting with social media because I could feel your facial expressions. I don't mean to giggle. It's just I know what they mean. I mean, just to be real.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. And I'm gonna address it because this person never came to me personally. They just went to try to attack my character, which I don't even really give a fuck because I don't know you and you don't know me. But I'm gonna say this: if I said something on a live, it was never to this person, regardless to what type of reputation that they have. I never judge anybody, and I never look at anybody differently. I look at everyone as human. Everybody have their own hangups. Nobody is perfect. So if I said something while I was live that I felt about someone in the audience or watching TikTok or whatever, that wasn't telling nobody that they're neglecting their things. It was a message that came from spirit that said, because I kept quoting TikTok the whole time. I was like, damn, somebody watches a lot of TikToks and spirit is saying it's work to be done. Now, whoever that was for, that has nothing to do with me. But it wasn't targeted to anyone. And I'm not explaining myself and I'm not covering up because I don't feel no goddamn guilt because I know what I know. And I know that I wasn't targeting to anyone because I don't have an issue with nobody. Now, certain people want problem with me for absolutely no reason. And I don't even know why. And I really don't give a fuck because that's just you projecting your own issues that you have on yourself and you trying to make it seem like I'm talking about you. Nor have I ever said that anyone is country. I'm from South motherfucking Texas. I'm country as fuck.
Look, I'm
How
from
can I
Kansas.
call anybody else country? And I didn't even want to come on here, but I see the comments. But I mean, if you had an issue, you could have reached out to me. You didn't have to go and make a whole long post and try to discredit me or try to stop people from coming to me. I don't care. I don't go out searching for readings. Whoever spirit needs me to read, they're gonna send them to me. I don't have to defend myself. But this shit is getting out of fucking hand. I don't deal with chaos. I don't. That shit is crazy. That shit is beyond me. I don't deal with that shit. So no, it's not here nor there. It's just some people, when you see people always got an issue or always got a problem with other people, it may not be the people that's around you. It may be you. You may be the issue. You may need to take a step back and reflect. Like, what is it that I really need to work on? Is it really these people trying to attack me? Or is it just me having some type of issue that I need to work on? That goes back to shadow work. That goes back to stepping out of ego and making sure that you're in the right, making sure that it is justified. I apologize, Doug.
Did you have anything to add there, Angelina?
What I was saying. It was like, this is why I took the hiatus that I did, because I have personal things, you know what I'm saying, that I got that needs my focus. This is why I haven't
Right.
been going on lives, and this is why I haven't really interact. This kind of was just it just happened to happen the way me being on this live, to be honest. It just happened to happen. I just messaged Doug saying what's up. So, but this, I said all that to say this: when we know that we have personal things going on and we're going through, we don't need to be interacting with energy on
Exactly.
platforms,
Exactly.
which is why I was taking my hiatus. And we'll go back until
Hmm.
all this that I got going on is resolved, right?
Exactly.
So, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let
Prime
me go back.
example, remember I was having some little issues or whatever personally. I would let Doug know, hey, it's not time for me to, I'm not going to be able to do it. Because if I'm not in my true essence, I don't even talk to anyone. I literally be in hermit mode because I have a strong belief that energy doesn't die, it only transfer. And I know I have a very strong presence. And I know my energy is strong. So I have to, stay to myself. Even with my children, I tell them, hey, mama need like an hour or two. I
Yes, that's
already cooked food. I already have things out. Let me go into my meditation. Let me raise my vibration so that way my toxicity doesn't transfer over to y'all. But
mm-hmm.
people take everything in this app as it being reality, or they make it think that whatever somebody puts on Facebook, that's the real. And it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if it has something to do with spirituality or whatever, because you see that shit all the time, not just this one isolated incident. So, I mean, I'm going to always be G. I'm going to always be me. I'm going to always, if I'm on a live doing readings, if I feel something about the audience and my spirits say it, I'm going to say it
Mm-hmm.
because I follow my intuition.
As you should. And
And that
as
doesn't necessarily mean that I'm targeting somebody because I don't target anyone. If I had an issue or if spirit gave me a message for a certain person, I'm going to tell them on live, hey, I'm not going to put this on here. I'm going to message you privately because
mm-hmm.
I don't need no goddamn audience. I don't seek for approval. A lot of people that does that, they want to be approved. They want some type of validation. And that's the last time I'm going to give that any of my goddamn energy. Nah, you could be mad by yourself, baby. But that wasn't to you, honey. Matter of
True.
fact, I was happy for you with your reading, with your new love, old love. I don't give a fuck if it's gangster love. Shit, everybody need goddamn love. You know
I
what I mean?
gangster love, you know what I'm saying? But you know,
That
have
little
to
thug
balance it
passion
like
make you a
so,
little hypnotic.
But,
You know what I
but I
mean?
mean, the
But
what
I
you
mean,
said,
and I
Jen.
digress. I had to say that because that shit is becoming redundant.
But I mean, what you said, Jen. Like, what was it? Validation, acceptance. Is that
Yeah,
is that
approval.
that like? Would you consider that like the end goal of toxicity or toxic behaviors?
Yeah.
Like, is that like what it culminates to? Is that particular that result that the person is seeking?
I think it's just like the saying goes, misery loves company.
And I'm not your company, baby.
And unhappy natures and unhappy presence that catches wildfire just as much as a smile can be contagious, so can the disposition of mess that
Yeah,
can be contagious. And
it
that's
can.
why it is very imperative, just like you said, Miss Janice, it's very imperative that you do ask for the proper
Spirit of
discernment.
discernment.
Yeah, because now I'm thankful that that was just one of my natural gifts. I was born with discernment, and then
Exactly.
going through the life that I have been going through, it's only
Mhm.
strengthened it, and that lets
Mhm.
me know why I lived the things that I went through. But
Yeah.
it's just you have to ask yourself. for ask for yourself of instilling the gift of discernment, and instilling, you know, that your eyes are watchful and your ears are open to the truth, and not
Mhm.
just for what it is. Because some, like I said, a lot of things that we do and a lot of conduct is very surface. On It's like an iceberg. Our
Right.
behavior is very surface. The
Mhm.
reason and intent of our behavior is the rest of the iceberg that's underneath sea level. So, uh oh, my bad, I'm popping. Um,
Well, you don't want to answer that on live.
it's it's okay. Shut up, shit. But it's
I mean, hey, I'm here for it.
I know it, boo. But it's the whole point of a lot of these surface behaviors have uh, a history behind it, and that's why I think it's very imperative to pray for the gift of discernment, to make sure you're doing your ritual cleanings, and even if there's nothing that's going on the media sites and in your community, it's always good to at least sometime out the month to take a hiatus from it all.
Yeah, especially if
So,
you've been on it too much.
oh my
I
goodness,
go on a hiatus a lot,
man,
and I'm gonna just say this: I even like I have a professional account on Facebook, meaning they pay me for them little TikTok videos and shit that y'all see. I ask that's like a source for me or whatever, source of income. I get tired of that. I get tired of scrolling and always seeing the same thing because I'm all about elevation. My frequency is on a higher level. So certain things I can't just really entertain. I don't be on Facebook like that. You know, I may post a video and get off, or I may do like some type of promotion or some shit and then I get off just because that's just too much. And then this is an app. This is an app. This motherfucker can crash today or tomorrow. Matter of fact, it could crash while we on live right now. And then what? Then what you're gonna do? You're gonna be forced to take care of the things that you've been ignoring. That don't that just because I said something that I was picking up on live, that don't mean I'm making it seem like this one in particular person is not doing what they supposed to be doing. I don't fucking know what you're doing on a regular. I'm not, I don't live with you. You get what I'm saying? But clearly, Spirit wanted me to say something because they want you to do the work. It ain't got shit to do with me. I don't give a fuck because I'm gonna run my business. I'ma still continue to run my household. I'ma still continue to manifest things in my life outside of this app because this motherfucking app ain't gonna pay your lights, your water, your rent, ain't gonna get you no new furniture. It ain't gonna do none of that shit. It ain't gonna take you to the motherfucking doctor if you need to go. People take this shit too fucking literal, like as it's reality. But
yeah,
a hit dog holler. If you feel like you on social media too much, step back. It's no obligation. It's only entertainment purposes. That's why I was created for another source of entertaining. If you're gonna be sensitive all the time, you might as well not even get on YouTube. Don't even watch TikTok. Because some of the shit they be saying is crazy. But whatever. Plus, I love this show.
But yeah, so I mean, like, we've been talking about toxicity for like the entire, like this entire episode. But I mean, we didn't really go over stuff how to kind of heal or resolve for it, or
Well, we
methods and
can.
stuff like
We
that. But
can.
I mean, like,
Because you
but
can
definitely,
heal. But getting over it, you have to actually want it. You can't just say you want it and then you're not putting in any action. That's the biggest part. You can even try to go to therapy. And I want to say this in me and Angelina's community, we therapy is frowned upon. That means like you got something mental. That means oh you going to a shrink. That motherfucker crazy. But that's not even the case. You just need an outside person that's gonna actually listen to you to where you feel heard. And I feel like this same situation and I mean, it's a lot of people that throat chakra is underactive. They feel like they're not being heard or they don't have a voice. So that's what therapy come in at, especially if you have all this bottled up, pent up energy that you don't really know how to express yourself. So when a situation comes and you're triggered, you don't know how to handle it. You come apart. So
Mm-hmm.
therapy, meditation, learning how to love yourself, going to the different versions of you. When I find myself in a depressive state, especially because I suffer from success anxiety, I'm very transparent. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say it. I suffer from success anxiety because I want it so bad because I felt like I always had something to prove, not only to other people but to myself. So when things is not moving my way, I tend to, start feeling down. I start self-doubting, and that's when the sabotaging come in. And that's when that fear set in. That's when that worry. Fear and worry is cousins. They're sisters and brothers. You know what I mean? So I go to different versions of me. Like in the town that I live, I go to my very first apartment. I even sit in the parking lot, y'all. It's very therapeutic. But
It
I
is.
look at
I've done
myself.
it. I've done it. Mm-hmm.
I look at myself and I talk to me then. I talk to that 19-year-old Jen and I say, hey, the shit that you're going through right now, you're gonna overcome. The
Right.
feelings that you feel of being abandonment, being alone, you're not gonna have to feel like that because you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not a failure. It doesn't matter that you're 32. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that you're 19 and you feel like you should have been far at that age. That I talk to different versions of myself. I even go back to the childhood house that I was raised in, and I talk to that 5-year-old Jen when I first realized that I first realized that I was fucking gifted when my godfather, I mean when my great grandfather died and I felt him dying. Do you know how hard that is when you're at 5 and you feeling like somebody passing away? That's hurtful. I didn't know how to explain to my mama that I feel like every time I get sick, I'm killing somebody in my family. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that I had to deal with for a very long time. So when you're talking about wanting to heal or moving out of that toxicity, that goes, it's all about that person. How do you really truly want to change? Do you really want to elevate? And elevate is not monetary gain. A lot of people get tired in that. They feel like they reach this certain peak when their bank account has millions or they have all these goddamn businesses, but they still be miserable in the inside. This goes back to what was the man that did the Soul Train? Don Cornelius.
Mr.
This
Cornelius.
man was well known for many, many, many moons. And what did he do? He committed suicide because he was still harboring all those feelings within him and he allowed it to consume him. You can't allow that to consume you. If you know that you want to fight for yourself, if you want some type of approval, the approval is within you.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else's opinions matter. Your mama, your daddy, your great granny, your children, their opinion doesn't matter. It's about you. It's about your soul. Your soul is the subconscious mind
Mm-hmm.
that continue to work. Come
And
on
you got
now.
to be careful not to
Y'all got
traumatize.
me
You got to
started. Y'all
traumatize
got me
you.
started. Y'all got me started, but I digress. I'm gonna be quiet. It's all about doing the work, walking the walk, and talking the talk, and putting motherfucking action behind it. You
And
can
you're not always
you can
going to
blow
have
smoke
somebody
with
to hold
somebody ass all goddamn day. I can tell y'all right now. I do cleanses. Yeah, I do them. Knowing damn well all I do is wash my booty and go on and still be stuck in that same energy.
the booty.
It's about the action. It's about faith without works is dead. You won't never fucking heal if you continue to outsource. Okay, and I'm done. I just felt like I dropped some gems.
You did. You did. It was all of it was needed to be said. Um,
Oh, and let me clear this up. I'm not targeting nobody. When I say you, I'm speaking as people as a whole.
mhm.
Let me
Yeah,
say
I didn't feel no targeted there. I didn't
that.
think you
Okay.
were targeting anybody.
Okay.
Um,
But I mean, like, you said therapy, counseling, stuff that you can do mundane. Like other stuff is like, I don't know, taking care of your physical health is one probably.
don't
Um,
attack me. Don't at me, Doug.
And don't add me either. Don't add me either.
Because
Cause you
child,
know I like to eat. I don't eat real healthy like I'm supposed to.
I'll be
yeah,
sitting all
eating
day at
eating
work.
healthy, all that other stuff. Quitting smoking. Bad habits and stuff
Oh,
like that.
Hold
But
on.
I mean, does it
hold
really?
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Cause see, now I'm feeling attacked.
But I
Get out my
mean, but it kind of comes
We
down,
all
I
in the
guess, to
business
like.
tonight. We ain't doing readings, damn it.
But what I'm trying to say is that like what doesn't it just come down to, at least on the mundane side, doesn't it just come down to like a degree of self-respect, right?
Yes.
It does.
Self-respect, self-care,
It is the
self-help.
form of self love because people
Yes.
have taken this self love, and I'm speaking my mind because that's self love, or I'm gonna go do this because well, really, it's self love is a whole bunch of different segments
Mm-hmm. It
of
is. It
of how
is.
of how you're supposed to love yourself. And you're right, taking care of your physical, with taking care of your mental, and taking care of your spiritual.
Yeah.
It
And
goes
your emotional body. You have to take care of that. That's a
right.
big part too.
I count that in with the cognitive, with the mental, is
Okay.
what I count
Okay.
with the emotional in.
Yeah.
Because it is an important factor. A lot of us now, some of us are detached from our emotions, but then again, that comes from other things that have happened to our
Mhm.
life that we have to heal
Yeah.
from. Some people, like you said, within our community, it really isn't advertised to go get help, especially for the men in our community.
Girl, get out my head. I was just gonna say, especially for black men, you can't say that you got mental health. You can't say that I'm emotional imbalance. You can't say
Somebody
that
looks at you different. I mean, they can a little bit more so now because
now,
they
but back
highlight
in
it.
the day, you
But just
couldn't.
a couple of years ago, no, they better not, or somebody's going to say something about them. And then
It'll make
that's
them look like they weak.
right. And in that same sense, black women, to me, when somebody tells me, Angelina, you're so strong, that's not a compliment to me.
Mm-mm.
That is not a compliment. I shouldn't have to be so strong.
Right.
I shouldn't have to be so strong all the time. So that's not a
Right.
compliment. But that's another, again, within that self love and that self
Mhm.
reflection and
Right.
that feeling that's needed. But that's why I want to be a counselor because we don't have, or a therapist or psychologist, because we don't have too many people in our community to lead our community. And I
Right.
think that this is for a lot of the brown community. I'm just going to say it like that. Not excluding nobody, you guys. I'm not trying to make this about race. I'm just speaking from what I
Because
know
it's
from
not. It's not.
my life. But a lot of that influences toxicity as well.
They do.
A
Because
lot
if
of
you and then growing up in
hmm
our community, we were never taught we were always taught to never show weakness. So anytime that a situation makes you feel vulnerable, what you result into, you're either gonna lash out, you're either gonna deflect, or you're gonna not take accountability for the things that's going on that you play a part in.
right.
So I totally agree with what you're saying, and it's not just in our community; it's in a lot of communities. You know what I mean? Some kind of slip under the radar, but that's because nobody wants to speak on the elephant in the room.
In
You
that
know what I
part.
mean? And just personal experience. I've had issues with my mom, and she would always say, "Well, you're the strong one. I don't really worry about you because I know you're gonna take care of it."
That's
But
why it's so
sometimes
strong as a
the
compliment.
strong one needs somebody to be able to bounce ideas off. You know what I mean? Um.
I was responding. But
Oh, I was reading before somebody think I'm doing something else, but that's neither here nor there. Um. I just who does the strongest person be able to go to? If everyone comes to you, always pulling on your energy, when you are feeling low, when you are feeling less than, when you are feeling that you're not that strong enough to pick yourself up, who can you call upon? That's where the therapist come in. That's where the life coach come in. That's where you have some type of person that you can be able to vent to, that's not going to judge you, that's not going to make you feel some type of way because you're in this low state. They're going to speak life into you to where you can rise above that toxicity.
Yeah, and if you have somebody around you that's not going to tell you about you when you
That
are
ain't the person that need to be around you.
that's another toxic person. That's
For
just
real.
breathing in that toxic nature.
Hmm.
You have to have somebody that's going to turn a mirror on yourself
Yeah.
and is going to tell you the truth about where you may be seeing things clearly.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm so thankful for my own personal tribe, and I'm gonna shout them out while we on the live. Brittany, Tina, Janelda, like they're my own personal selected tribe
Hmm.
throughout my
Yeah.
life, and my cousin Mimi, because they will in a heartbeat turn
Right.
the mirror on myself and be like, well, I can see what you're saying, but you need them people.
I have I don't really have that many friends just because I'm not really a people person or whatever. But it's certain people that I'm able to talk to. And it's one in particular. We've been friends for, girl, I'm talking about back then when we was cutting gates, cutting holes in the goddamn gates, sneaking to the park and shit. Um, but I don't want to state her name. I don't have to state her name, but I can come to her and tell her, I can talk to her. I could be myself. I could be vulnerable, Jen. I'll be like, "Am I wrong?" And she'll tell me, "Now, girl, now you caught in your head. You overthinking over there. Don't do that. You trying to talk yourself out of these. You know what I mean?" Even if sometimes when I talk to Doug in a private setting, he don't know that he be. I be like this. I be thinking like, oh no. But I mean, that's the type of friends you want. You want someone that is gonna point that out to you so that way you can recognize it. That don't necessarily mean that this person is trying to attack you. They're letting you know, hey, you're not walking in your power, sir.
Yeah,
You want some bullshit.
it's a reminder. Hey,
Yeah.
step back in line. Like
Don't
you
stroke
said.
my god doggone ego. I don't need that to be stroked. You
Mhm.
know, don't just be, I don't, a lot of people, especially if you suffer from toxicity, you don't want anyone to be a yes person because that's just going to increase it.
It's just breathing. That's breathing lies. If you have somebody that's always, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're
Yeah,
lying.
you're
I
not
don't want
wrong.
you around me. I don't.
Knowing damn well. Now they know this is great. Now
I don't want
she
you.
ain't have to say that.
And sometimes you don't want people around you that are always 100% just positive because sometimes some shit is not positive. It's not optimistic. Sometimes it just isn't. Um, there has to be a balance.
It has
There has
to.
to be a balance, but you
I mean,
have
like,
to discern.
Angelina, to I guess to put it frank or to put it succinctly, you need friends which can be real to you, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And you have to make sure those friends are real to themselves as well.
Yes, because I love to work at a light, but the reason why I work so much through light is because I've been through so much dark. And to be honest,
Mhm.
when I go to that place, it is not good for
At all.
anybody. It's not
And it's
good for
hard for
me.
me to come. It'd be
It's not
hard for
good
me to come
for
out
them.
of it. It'd be hard for me to come out of it.
Yes, because then it starts feeling good to you. Be like, fuck, who next? Who next?
Oh,
You know.
oh, look, this bitch tried me at the light. Let me go ahead and roast the fuck out of her
Oh,
ass.
them people in
You
the
know
car,
what I mean?
Lord.
Or the lady at the McDonald's didn't make your oatmeal right. Now you jumping through the window to snatch her fucking wig out.
Because
Just
I'm being for the
because. Exactly. That's why I say I've been through so much in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So much in my life. Till I'm very balanced. You know what I mean? Because I believe I'm a strong believer. You cannot have the light without the dark. You cannot have the dark without the light. It goes with the yin and yang circle. How it has the on the white, they have the black, and on the black, they have the white. You have to have that. But sometimes when a person is always choosing peace, that's because that dark side is just nasty. And sometimes it takes
I'd
over.
rather peace. I love working through peace. I rather find the common ground of things.
Exactly.
I rather
Exactly.
find the common ground. Where's the opportunity of healing? Especially if there's mess. Okay, there's mess. Here's a broom. Here's a mop. Here's some rags. Let's get to
Let's
work.
clean it up.
Instead of
Let's
just
clean it
leaving
up.
it there and walking around it or stepping over it or acting like it's not there, let's get to
Or trying
work.
to cover up some shit. Shit still gonna stink even if you throw the carpet over it.
It's thinking.
Yeah.
What you
I,
got
I
so
just I don't in low vibrating energy, and I'm a very optimistic person.
Mhm.
And when you said you can't always be positive, because I'm so positive, sometimes I don't even really know what to say. You know what I mean? I'll just sit there and be like, you know, I don't want to say too much because nobody wants to hear that, Jen.
Mm,
Nobody want to hear that. They want to be mad. Let them be mad, you know. But I will still try to speak life into the situation, regardless to what it is, rather
right,
if you don't want to hear it or not, you know.
right,
But that goes because I'm always, when I'm in a conversation, I'm talking to myself. I'm not just talking to that person.
right.
So
Because you do get a lot of self revelations trying to help somebody else. Oh my,
right,
all the time.
right. So sometimes I don't really know how. And then I'm also, when you was talking about being detached, I'm a detached person. And I felt like I had to detach myself in order to have that protective barrier, in order to set boundaries for myself. I'm quick to cut a motherfucker off. I'm talking about quick. It don't even, you don't even have to really do me nothing. If I just don't like your energy, that's it. You know, I bless you. I won't, you won't even know that it's an issue. I just kind of fade the fuck away. You know, I fade to the black. Like
Mm.
like that homework gift. He was sinking into the tree. That's me. You know what I mean? That's me because I'm detached. I try not to get attached to certain people because of my personality is big and it
Mm.
comes off the wrong way. Some people don't know how to take me. So
Well, and there's different strokes for different folks. So,
yeah, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And
and
I'm
I,
okay with that. I'm okay with that.
yep,
But
I feel you.
I
Okay.
don't operate in mess.
So okay, so we're coming up to the 10 o'clock mark. So did you guys have any closing remarks about this particular topic? I mean, I'm guessing that you guys know resources, at least on the mundane side, to be able to help with, I guess, shadow work or getting therapy and all other stuff.
I
And
say my thing is definitely getting you a journal. I feel like getting you two journals, okay? One journal, you write down everything that you have went through in your life. Whatever it is. If you got pissed off, somebody cut you off at the light and you had to drive off the side of the road because you was going too motherfucking fast and that shit just upsetted you, write that shit down. Rip it out. Go outside. Fold it away from you. Set that bitch ablaze. Safety first. Safety motherfucking first. Okay. And in this other journal, you write down everything that you want to feel in your life, or how if you want to say, hey, I like snakes, but everything, nobody really likes that. I'll write. It's certain things you be truthful to yourself, to thine own self be true.
Mhm.
So once you start being true to yourself, you'll be able to move out of that. Meditation is number one. Playing binaural beats while you sleep at night. Choosing not to allow, learning how to react instead of learning how to respond instead of reacting. Learning how to control how you feel and not giving your power to someone to control your feelings, allowing them to be a puppet master.
I'm sorry. As soon as you said that, I heard Beyonce. They'll never take my power, my power. Sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, because see, I could have with this isolated incident, I could have allowed myself to fall into the bullshit. I could have went on a rant. I could have reached out to this person and caused even more. But because I know my truth and I know that my intentions wasn't to attack. So I don't necessarily have to defend myself. I learned how to leave people where they are. So that goes back to not feeding into the bullshit. That takes very strong practice. And you have to continue to do that because you're gonna always run into certain situations that's gonna bring that out of you. And I feel like that's just spirit testing you to see if you really are changing, if you really are allowing yourself to heal, if you really are doing shadow work. And shadow work is taking accountability for your actions, because every action has a reaction. It could be something you've done that triggered this person that made them act like that with you. It's accountability.
Mhm.
So,
My closing remark, very good by the way. But my my
um,
is teetering off of that. But being mindful.
mhm,
When you are mindful and you stay aware, um, and then at first it does take practice of being mindful. That's how I learned how to meditate. Uh, when I felt like I didn't have any time to meditate, at the time I had two kids and just doing everything by myself. It was, I feel like I did not have the time to meditate because I was in class, doing schoolwork too. So I had to learn how to be mindful of even just focusing on my breathing. Be mindful of taking a second and focusing on, like I stated earlier, what do I feel in this present time right now? And then staying mindful that regardless, nobody controls my feelings. Nobody can make me feel a certain type of way. Because we're taught that people make us feel a certain type of way. But let me just get scientific with y'all real quick. So how the brain works is that it's going to remember. Our brain
mhm,
builds off memory. So when something happened to us, when we first put our hand in the fire, it was like, ouch, that hurt. That taught us not to put our hand in the fire again, or else it's going to hurt. So when we see fire, we're automatically going to associate that with, ouch, that hurts.
right.
But the fire isn't really what hurts you afterwards. After you learn, the fire is not what hurts you. What hurts you is the fact that you put your hand back in that bitch after you know that it's going
And
to
it
hurt.
was hot. Exactly.
So we have
Ugh.
to stay very mindful of, okay, what has history taught me, and what have I taught myself throughout history of me being on this
Right.
plane,
Right.
and stay mindful of where you are in a situation, where you are with your emotions. And some people won't understand you when you are mindful because they're going to think that something's wrong with you, but they're not on that. Everybody's on different levels. There's,
Mhm.
what do you say, there's different
There's
levels.
levels to this shit.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody is. But that's my closing remark, y'all. Just please stay as mindful as you can of your own self, because when you start practicing mindfulness of self, it is easier
Mhm.
and clearer to see everybody else. Now, I used to tell myself all the time, you can't lie to God. Whoever's your spiritual deity or whatever, you can't lie to them because they know. And they're a part of you. So if you can't lie to them, you truly can't lie to yourself. And if you can be honest with yourself, it's effortless to be honest
Mhm.
with everybody else. And that's what's
Mhm.
in communication.
And you know
Right.
who else you can't lie to? You can't lie. You certainly cannot lie to your ancestors.
You damn sure can't.
That's what I was meaning, like the connections that you have.
Especially if you have a real connection,
You can't lie.
they're gonna let you know when you're in the wrong. I know mine do.
And
Regard
you can't
contrary to
have
popular
lies.
belief. Your
That's all.
ancestors, you cannot lie to them because they already know the situation. They know you. They know everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can't lie to them. You can't try to justify to them that this certain situation is, you know what I mean? And let me not say that before somebody else get fucking offended by me saying certain situations. Well, whatever situation that comes up in your life and you trying to justify certain things, they're not gonna agree with you, especially if you are in the wrong.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at her saying Doug's face. How do you remain so, girl? I say he's nonchalant and so calm about everything.
Yes. My
Well,
facial
to
expression
answer,
says
I
everything.
mean,
And
like,
then to this point
to answer
tonight, I don't
Janice,
give a fuck how anybody feel.
to
Now,
answer Janice though, um, lots of practice. There are certain practices that will help me achieve this, but ultimately, um, you have to go through a lot of things. Well, I know I went through a lot of things to be able to achieve this particular sense of
and
calm,
all the energy
but also like I'm 38 now. I mean, I'm getting older and I only have so much time for certain things. So I mean, Um, there comes a time and certain things where I just found that I needed to let go of certain to let go, or like at least the act of letting go, um, or just come to the realization that it's just better to let go.
Right. What I've learned is not everything deserve a response.
Yep.
Not everything deserves a response. Not everyone deserves your energy. If
That,
that person want to be mad, let them be mad. Shit, that's on them. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm still gonna sleep.
So one of my dads told me this: if you feel like your feet are stepped on in a situation or whatever, the conversation, whatever, you feel like your feet are being stepped, that means you need to be attentive to what's going on and take heed so you can actually alternate what needs to be. Put it like that.
Right.
Uh, if your toes ain't being stepped on, you ain't got nothing to worry about. That has nothing to do with you. Let the wind keep blowing. Let the storm rage around off on the coast, but not in your area. But if your feet
Right.
are stepped on, that's something that you need to reflect on.
That
And
don't
that
necessarily mean that that's that said person. Yeah, I
that goes
totally.
for self too. When I feel like my feet are being stepped on, like when he said physical, who Doug talk about that. When he
He
said,
said about eating right.
I mean, because I've been needing to really change my diet and say I'm going to, and say, oh, this happened, so I'm going to, and just been like with a Creole seasoning, and just going in there doing my thing. And but my feet were being stepped on. I knew it applied to me. I felt some type of way. I knew it would apply to me. If when I say some type of way, meaning that I wasn't just all hunky dory like, ooh, that's staying. So I knew it applied to me. But if your feet aren't getting stepped on, it does not apply to you. You don't have nothing to worry about.
mhm. All right. Well, I guess
Somebody
that.
mad in the comments.
Pardon?
Huh?
I was seeing somebody said fucking something. I don't know.
Huh? What?
So
Where?
we're just going to go ahead and
Move forward. Okay, I just finished reading. I just something caught my eye. But anyway,
Oh, okay.
um,
But yeah, I mean, I guess we've come to the end. So um, before
this
we,
was a really nice topic, and I hope that whoever needed to hear these, they were able to take away what resonates and leave the rest.
it was a reminder for myself though,
It
with certain
was.
situations that I'm going through, like just to be transparent with my housing situation that I'm going through, with moving,
Mhm.
like just how with the people I've been interacting with, it has reminded me, girl, your mindfulness. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like you know what to do, girl. Why you over there tripping? But
Right.
which I have been, but I'm just saying my ways, my dispositions towards other people. It's a good refresher. So I am glad
Yeah.
that I am glad I came on.
Yeah.
Even though it was last moment, but sometimes that's how spirit works.
And
You never know.
this topic definitely showed me how much I have grown from certain patterns that I used to have when I was younger. It definitely showed me. It definitely showed how I'm able to keep my composure instead of overreacting or having certain outbursts for something that is really it doesn't even it's not real. You know what I mean? So this was a really good topic. It wasn't just for the audience, it was for us as well.
Hmm.
Because
definitely.
each one of us said something that penetrated.
Hmm. That's when you
Yeah.
know it's
Yeah. That's how you know it's real.
So, would you like to reintroduce yourselves again for our viewers, or especially the new ones that come onto the channel, and let them know who you are, where they can find you, and how they can get in contact with you?
I am Life by Lyric Angelina though, but Life by Lyric. I do a lot of readings and divinations. I will be providing here coming this fall, and it's crazy we're on the topic, but I will be providing counseling and therapeutic services via Facebook. will be credentialed to do so. As I've been preaching and saying about, I always got to feel like, I need my credentials first. So that will be added to the Life by Lyric page. It will be shut down for the summer because there are some things that I do need to get together in my personal life. And then I'm going to revamp towards September. Um, because there's a lot of things that I'll talk to y'all about that later, but a lot of things in the work that I know y'all will be excited about. But yes, please look forward to the updated revamped Life by Lyrics page in August, beginning of September.
Well, I can't wait. I'd like to see it.
Yes.
Yes. Got some things.
So y'all know me. I'm Jen. Um, my you can book with me. I will be providing mediumship readings in a few weeks. Um, I am a hairstylist, so if you're in Texas, you need someone, you can look me up. But that is my main career, you know. I also make my own hair growth products. I can't even talk. So if you're suffering from any thinning hair, maybe you're suffering from some type of alopecia, traction alopecia, or whatever, you can definitely look into purchasing my products. I am a certified hair loss practitioner, where you can come and get growth treatments, yearly growth treatments, things like that. I am a diviner, I am a healer, I am a reader. You also can book with me if your spirit leads you to. If not, it's millions of readers out everywhere that you can get a reading from. You can find me on Facebook, which is Jen Wade, or you can inbox me on Abundant Growth Hair Care Products. Yes, I do shoot.
And I am Doug Graves, the Friendly Neighborhood Necromancer, and you can find me on Facebook on my business page with the same namesake, the Friendly Neighborhood Necromancer. And you can also find me on YouTube, the Necropolis of Doug Graves, where you can watch the live replays as well as the past live readings. But yes, no announcements for me. I still do readings. You can book with me on my Facebook business site, and I'll take you there to my booking page. And then whenever you guys are ready to take a look, mine whatever it is that you were looking for, or even see if there's any kind of tea in the background that you might have noticed. I'm definitely there to ship that.
Oh, and I will be doing a beginning meditation class as well to teach people how to meditate and quiet their mind.
That's pretty cool. Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you all for coming. Thank you to you two, and as always, an honor for you guys to be on and enjoy my lives with you. So yes, we'll close out now, and thank you all for coming. For those new viewers, please like, subscribe, and share if you can. It would be much appreciated. You don't have to. But yeah, we'll see you again next week. You're muted.
And I thank you. I've always wanted to catch the crack a cold one, but Mondays is like my really, really, really busy days because my salon be closed on that day. But I really appreciate you allowing me to come on. This was fun.
Oh yeah, anytime. I mean, like you read with me already on the other live. So,
Yeah. And I
but
think your audience like me.
yeah, they do. They love you. But yeah, you were gonna say something, Angelina. You were muted at the time, so I don't know if you wanted to add anything more.
Baby, that's being extra. I wasn't saying no sustenance. It's okay.
Got
It's all right. And of course they like you, Jen. Of course.
I'm just extra.
And so am I. Read all about it. It's okay.
Okay. I'm gonna forever be dramatic and all.
So yeah, so catch us in the next episode. Please be safe, everyone. Be blessed, and catch us next week. I have a really special episode for you. I'll be posting it on the business, but next week will be a special episode. So catch us then.
Ooh, let me pop my popcorn. It's like a snack.
Yeah, but you guys might like this one. So please be blessed. Everyone stay safe, and we'll catch you next week. Good night, everyone.
Peace and love to everyone.